Part 94. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 935. In the port area, Qin Ji frowned at the report in front of him and looked at Binjiang in front of him. In other words, there has been no new progress report on the Bering Strait for almost 2 or 3 days. Yes, Commander, according to the communication room, although there are reports every day, they are all patrol reports in the sea area, Binjiang said. Qin Ji narrowed his eyes. No, Musashi is a very tough person, and judging from Chongying's previous strategy, we should be pushing towards Sea Area 76 in the past 2 days. Could it be that? Commander, what's wrong? Binjiang asked, confused. Qin Ji rubbed his forehead. There must be a situation in Sea Area 76. Chongying wants to make a big move, but if they report to me directly, I may judge the situation and let them wait for assistance. But Musashi is a very strong person, and he has a wise general like Magi beside him, so he must want to kill first and then show off. Haha, it's very similar to Musashi's approach, so how does the commander arrange it? Binjiang said with a smile. What else can be done? The generals will not obey the military orders outside. Since they were able to take this action, they must have done an investigation in advance. What I am worried about now is the unintended consequences. Qin Ji frowned, the closest to 76 who is the non-Kongsakura camp fleet in the sea. According to today's report, it should be the fleets led by Bunker Hill, North Carolina, and Washington in White Eagle, Binjiang said. Qin Ji nodded. Immediately arrange for them to rush to the rescue, and by the way, notify New Jersey to let White Eagle's fleet move closer to the North Pacific. But if it passes now, I believe it will be too late, Binjiang said. No, since Chongying has decided to attack the stronghold in the 76 sea area, I believe they are already prepared. What we need to do now is to deal with the aftermath. Qin Ji pointed to the sea chart on the table and said, after completing the 76 sea area, we have opened up the connection point of the Bering Strait, but it is not an easy task to occupy it in a short time. Therefore, I need White Eagle to assist, and the two sides will work together to capture the North Pacific as soon as possible. This can maintain our stronghold in the rear and establish a connection between the Northern Alliance and White Eagle. It will play a very crucial role in our subsequent full-scale attack on the center of the Pacific Ocean. I understand, I'm going to the communications room right away, Binjiang said. Qin Ji nodded. Seeing Binjiang leaving, Qin Ji couldn't help but look at Hato and rubbed his forehead, then smiled. You guys are really going to give me problems, but that's fine. The real battle will begin after that. In the 82 sea area, Bunker Hill, who was moving forward, suddenly stopped, causing the entire team to stop as well. Bunker Hill, what's wrong? North Carolina asked. There is a communication from the command center, Bunker Hill said, then connected the communication, and the figure of the Enterprise appeared in front of him. Enterprise. Is there any problem there? Bunker Hill asked. No, there is a problem there, but it is not your problem. I would like to ask, how far are you from Sea Area 76 now? The company asked. Sea Area 76? If we move forward with all our strength, we can get there in about 10 hours, Bunker Hill said. Okay, notify your fleet to head to Sea Area 76 with all its strength to assist the Kongsakura fleet there and gain control of the Bering Strait, Enterprise said. Are you going to attack the Bering Strait with all your strength? North Carolina was stunned for a moment. That's right. Although this is the commander's speculation, Shigeyaku hasn't given a comprehensive progress report for 2 days. According to the personalities of their group, they must be trying to make something big happen. It is estimated that it is already underway, but according to their manpower, it will be difficult to control the Bering Strait in a short time. So the commander is now sending your fleet there, and several fleets led by New Jersey will also move closer to the Bering Strait. When it appears, The port area will conduct a raid on the North Pacific. The company said. Tisk, Commander really knows Chongying's group of people. Got it, we're going to see Area 76 right now, Washington said. Then the communication is over, I wish you a safe journey. After the company finished speaking, it hung up the communication. Then let's go quickly now, Bunker Hill said. Well, Benson, the investigation ahead depends on you. North Carolina nodded and said to Benson at the front. Don't worry, leave it to us, Benson said, patting his chest. Set off. Yes. In the Sea Area 76 Siren stronghold, the battle is still going on. Everyone in the elite team here is a veteran on the battlefield. The team they formed is rampaging in the sea area of this stronghold. Even the defense line composed of elite Sirens will be quickly broken through by them. It wasn't until they met the second agent that everyone slowed down. But at this moment, the roaring engines of carrier-based aircraft came from far and near, and the carrier-based aircraft formation composed of the aviation brigade of the main force now officially arrived on the battlefield. It seems that the support of the aviation fleet has arrived. It is only a matter of time before the main force arrives. Musashi glanced at the sky and said to everyone, everyone, follow me, and kill in the direction of the clearers. Yes. A very concise and clear answer. The offensive that was originally blocked by everyone became fierce again with the assistance of carrier-based aircraft. Purple lightning, blue butterflies, and the flickering light of the sword flickered throughout the sea area of the stronghold. The entire vanguard fleet, like an arrow, rolled towards the depths of the stronghold. The first thing to suffer was the Siren defense fleet in front of them. The carrier-based aircraft of the aviation group dropped bombs, almost all of the sea area in front of them exploded into a sea of fire. The entire defense line of the Siren fleet that intercepted the vanguard fleet was almost collapsed. Even the ships that had not sunk were quickly sunk by Musashi and others who were chasing after them. Everyone shuttled through the sea of fire, not affected by the surrounding firelight at all. They had only one purpose now, and that was to move forward and pierce their sharp arrows straight into the heart of the enemy. The clearers in the distance were also observing the movement here. After seeing this unparalleled momentum, they couldn't help but roll their eyes. This guy, the tester, is really a headache. However, if you want to take me down, you can't do anything other than an indomitable momentum, the cleaner said, and linked his system to the nearby Siren elite. Enforcers, stop those annoying guys. As the fire flashed, the battle in the entire sea area became increasingly fierce. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 936. The thick purple dew thunder broke open a piece of sea surface. Musashi stood on the waves with a knife, looking at the clearers in the distance who defended the thunder, with a smile on his lips. I didn't expect your experimental facility to have two brushes. Humph, if you haven't been transformed into a ship now, how can you and the others be my opponents? The cleaner snorted. Haha, but it's a pity that we are already a ship now, Ji said with a smile. You. The purge looked a little angry. Boom. A thick white laser was shot from the huge ship behind the clearer, and along with the laser were cannonballs hidden in it that emitted a black aura. Musashi and others immediately jumped up and dodged. After all, taunting is taunting. It is undeniable that the cleaners are still very powerful. However, the cannonball with black aura hidden behind it still caused everyone a hidden loss. Isuzu, who was unable to dodge, was hit by the cannonball. Isuzu, are you okay? Cao Sheng, who fell on the sea, immediately asked Isuzu, who was hit by the black aura not far away. At this moment, Isuzu's eyes were closed tightly, and he looked dazed, as if he had lost his sense of direction. Woo, it's okay. Isuzu said quickly, I just can't see anything, my sense of direction is also lost, and the radar range has been reduced to the minimum. What? Cao Sheng was stunned, and then immediately said on the communication channel, everyone, Be careful of those black aura cannonballs. They can make us lose direction and block our sensors. We don't know how long this state will last. I see, everyone, keep your spirits up. The enemy has not lost the ability to resist yet. Musashi nodded. Kaohsiung, how about Isuzu? I will be by her side to protect her when she is disoriented, Takaohsiung said as he came to stand next to Isuzu, holding Isuzu's hand to avoid the incoming shells. Well, that's up to you, Musashi nodded, then relaxed and fired at the clearer with all his strength. Feeling the water splashing from the shell exploding not far away from him, Isuzu followed Kaohsiung's trajectory and maneuvered. Although he couldn't see it, he could still keenly feel Kaohsiung's movements. Thank you, Kaohsiung, Isuzu said apologetically. Don't talk so much now. How do you feel about yourself? Kaohsiung asked without looking back. It's better. I feel that this shielding should only be temporary, but being hit is still very troublesome. Isuzu said quickly. Well, that's good. Kaohsiung dodged the flying shells, paused and fired fiercely at the mass-produced siren that appeared not far away. Can you still shoot? Yes, I can still attack, Isuzu quickly replied. That's good, follow my instructions, and we'll walk around the edge together to provide fire support, Kaohsiung said. Yes. Just as the firepower in the stronghold continued to pour towards the sirens, the main fleet composed of Magi and others had also entered Sea Area 76. Akagi, how is the situation with Master Musashi and Master Nagato? Magi asked Akagi, who had just recovered his carrier-based aircraft. The situation is not too tense. They are currently exchanging fire with the cleaners, but the time cannot drag on for too long. After all, there are only a few of them. When the testers show up and join forces with the cleaners, it will probably be very stressful, Akagi replied. Magi nodded. Immediately pass on the order to encircle that sea area. Your aviation brigade will continue to use carrier-based aircraft to provide support to ensure that the Vanguard fleet will not fail this time due to firepower. Understood, Sister Magi, Akagi nodded. Seeing Akagi taking action, Magi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This operation was originally an adventure. They could use the all-out war style to sweep the clearing points with their advantage. But this consumes a lot of time. For them, the most important thing now is time. In addition, the two of them intend to give Shigesakura a certain say in the Minato area, so they agreed to carry out this raid. However, the rapid progress of the raid also entails corresponding risks. If the Vanguard team led by Musashi is suppressed by fire and besieged before the main force arrives, or even causes certain losses, then their operation will fail this time. Fortunately, up to now, the Vanguard fleet led by Musashi is still fighting the enemy, and with the support of the aviation brigade, it is still not at a disadvantage against the clearers. This makes Magi feel relieved. Now that their main fleet has established a stronghold and is very close, the next battle will be to encircle and annihilate them. As long as this Siren stronghold is removed, the next step in the Bering Strait strategy will be very simple. At this moment, a burst of rapid communication signals was transmitted to Tianquan's communicator. A signal from the White Eagle fleet. Tianquan was stunned for a moment when he received the signal, and then said with some suspicion, "Is it possible that the Lord already knows our strategy?" "Impossible, maybe it is a distress signal from White Eagle." In his thoughts, Magi decided to connect the signal and see what happened. The moment the signal was connected, a vague figure appeared in front of him, and this figure was Bunker Hill of the White Eagle fleet. Bunker Hill, Magi narrowed his eyes. Finally connected with your signal. We have now reached Sea Area 80. We are still some distance away from Sea Area 76 where you are now, but I believe that we will be able to reach your sea area later, Bunker Hill said. Huh? Are you coming to Sea Area 76? I remember you are in charge of the sea area near Alaska, right? Magi said. Yes, but we have received orders from the headquarters to assist you in clearing the strongholds in the sea. Of course, if the strongholds are cleared by you, we will assist you in the Bering Strait strategy, Bunker Hill said. Wait. The command sent you a signal? Is it the Lord? Tiancheng couldn't help but said. Yes, Minato has guessed that you Chongying are making a big move, but we don't know the specific actions. However, in order to prevent some consequences caused by your Chongying's lack of combat power, Minato ordered our fleet in the Southeast Pacific to head towards your location. The sea area is close. The fleet I am in is the first squadron, and the fleet led by New Jersey will move closer to this side, ready to support at any time. Bunker Hill said. So now can you tell me about the situation over there? Amagi sighed. I know I can't hide it from my lord for too long, but it's okay. After this battle, we will indeed launch a comprehensive strategy for the Bering Strait. If you come to help, this strategy can be quickly a lot of. The current situation here is like this, where Master Musashi is. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 937. After hanging up the communication with Bunker Hill, Amagi smiled slightly. This reaction made Luan and Shentong, who were following Amagi, a little confused. Lord Tiancheng, our actions have been known to the commander, and we have failed to cover it up. But why are you not worried at all, but so happy? Shentong asked with some confusion. Haha, no, our plan has been successful. Amagi smiled and looked towards the south of the Pacific Ocean. I know the Lord very well, and currently Minato is surrounded by many outstanding talents. In fact, Musashi-sama and I really wanted to hide it from the Lord at first. In this case, the results of our battle would definitely surprise the Lord. However, the subsequent comprehensive deployment strategy will cause certain troubles for the main force and other camps. It was a dilemma, so we chose the middle point in the end. That is to still act according to our previous plan, and truly report back on the affairs we have arranged in our daily reporting work on the port area. It won't take 2 to 3 days, and the headquarters in the port area will definitely discover the anomaly in our camp. Based on the Lord's understanding of us, he can quickly guess what we want to do. But at this time, the plan has already begun to be implemented. It is impossible for him to stop us, so what the Lord can do is to deal with the aftermath for us. What we need is the attitude of the Lord and other forces that need to be sent to deal with the aftermath. The supernatural power suddenly dawned on him. So it's like this, but why did Lord Amagi pretend to be sorry when he told Bunker Hill just now? Haha, of course it's because we did go too far in this matter, and it's natural to say sorry. But even so, we still have to do this. Time is very precious to us now, and we have to make sure only by capturing the Bering Strait as soon as possible can we truly begin the sweep of the North Pacific, Amagi said with a smile. So how will you report this matter to the commander in the end? Luan asked. The Lord can just report what actually happened. He has sent the White Eagle camp to cooperate with us. This shows that although she may not necessarily agree with our plan, she will not oppose our goal. As long as it is within his tolerance and the goal is achieved, then it is nothing more than verbal criticism. Amagi smiled. Haha, Lord Tiancheng really has no plans left, Shentong said with a smile. Haha, it's not an exhaustive strategy. If it is really an exhaustive strategy, then the Lord should be the last one to know about it, Tiancheng said with a smile. But I can rest assured now, Shentong, pass on the order. The main fleet will move forward at full speed, the real battle will begin soon. Yes, Lord Amagi, the supernatural power responded. The battle in the stronghold continues, and the current clearers are almost unable to hold on. After all, as the Siren fleet and enforcers around him are gradually eliminated, the pressure the purifiers face is much greater than before. Moreover, Musashi and others have gradually understood the frequency of the clearer's attacks, and their grasp of her attacks has become more and more in-depth. Ordinary shell attacks could no longer damage them, and the special laser attacks only worked in the first attack. After that, they almost only had the effect of forcing them to retreat, and the situation gradually became crisis. The Purge was fighting while shouting in his communicator, "Tester, are you okay? I can't hold on any longer." "All right, keep holding on for a few more minutes. After all, if you want to shock them now, you still need some time to prepare." The tester's voice soon sounded in the purifier's communicator, which made the purifier's heart beat. "Put it down. Although it will still take a while, at least the testers have not left this stronghold so far, which is not the worst case scenario." "Well, you'd better hurry up. Their attacks are getting sharper and sharper after transforming into ships," the cleaner said with a tongue-tied tongue. Although the consciousness is connected to the communicator, the purifier's biggest concern is not here. After all, facing the attacks of several legendary ships at sea, it is impossible not to respond well. During this period of communication alone, she had already withstood waves of attacks from the opposite side. Although most of the attacks were dodged, some of them still landed on her body. Although these injuries seem relatively small, if they accumulate like this for a long time, she will soon be unable to hold on. This is also one of the prototypes of why the Purgers are anxious at present. If she could choose a way to die, she would choose to die vigorously on the battlefield, but she was not willing to die like a frog boiled in warm water bit by bit. "Haha, Purifier, it seems that the tester has abandoned you now. You haven't come out to help until now. It turns out that you sirens are not harmonious internally." Musashi looked at the embarrassed Purifier in front of him, and the light in his eyes flowed. Said with a hint of smile, "Humph, you don't need to worry too much, and do you really think you have captured me now?" "How naive," the Purifier said while using all his firepower and resisting with all his strength. "Oh, since you said that, it means that the testers are preparing these things behind the scenes. But it is useless to prepare anything now. Our main force will arrive soon, and then you will die," Ji Yi said, rushed forward fiercely, and struck the clearer's shield with a knife. "Humph, although I have to admit that you have become stronger after mastering the power of the ship, but you also underestimated the power of my experimental organization." The scavenger's shield exploded violently, knocking Ki out. It was shaken directly. At this moment, a black shadow suddenly flashed, followed by several cannon fire, attacking Ki, who was retreating. "Ki," Musashi shouted, then waved his hand, and a purple light fell next to Ki, directly catching Ki, who was falling back. Only then did everyone have the time to look at the black shadow, and a trace of solemnity flashed across Nagato's face. "Tester. Huh, you're finally out," the Purge said with a sigh of relief. "It just took a little time to prepare, but it's enough to handle this battle," the tester said as he landed next to the clearer. "Preparation? Do you really have a backup plan?" Musashi said with squinted eyes. "Haha, facing top combat power like you, how is it possible without some backups?" the tester said, and then opened his arms. "Come out, us." Just as the tester finished speaking, dozens of whirlpools suddenly appeared in the sky, and among the whirlpools, black shadows gradually appeared. "What? How come there are so many testers? My ship girl, my world." Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 938. Including Musashi, everyone looked at the sky. The words just said were Shimekaze. Because at this time, dozens of identical testers were floating above everyone's heads. "Is this your backup plan?" Musashi squinted his eyes. He could feel that these testers floating in the sky were not as powerful as the tester in front of him, but they were definitely much stronger than ordinary ships. "Haha, this is far from our backup, but it is enough to deal with you," the tester said. "That's not what they say," Kaohsiung waved his blade and looked at the tester and said, "You have to try to find out whether you can deal with us." "That's right, isn't it a little early to declare victory now?" Atago said with a smile, but although her words were full of joking, her eyes were full of solemnity. Nagato took a step forward at this time, "Unite the fleet and crush the enemy." Following Nagato's voice, a ripple of energy directly enveloped all the people present. Everyone, including Musashi, was emitting a red light. At this moment, everyone felt that their strength had increased. Although it was not the first time to feel such blessing of ability, at this moment, those calm words and the power emerging from the body made everyone cheer up. "Haha, I haven't felt this feeling of a last-ditch fight for a long time. Everyone, I'm here. There's no need to be timid. Don't rush in. Just attack." Musashi raised the long sword in his hand and said. "Yes." Chang'e and others stepped forward to greet him. Just when Nagato was about to take his own steps, Musashi said with a smile, "Nagato-sama, just stay behind me this time." Then he looked at Shinano, "Let them feel the power of the Yamato class." Shinano closed her eyes and slowly opened them. The astrological ball surrounded her. "I have seen your ruined fate." The blue butterfly seemed to appear out of thin air and quickly flew across the entire sea area. It looked dreamlike, but it revealed a dangerous flavor. "Humph, let's fight. Let's see if you, Chang'e, can change the fate of this world." After saying that, the purge went directly to meet him. The tester also chuckled and said, "Let's do it." A large number of explosions rang out throughout the sea area. The sound of artillery shells and the sound of carrier-based aircraft made the stronghold in the sea area very tense. Different from the previous battle against the cleaners, this time everyone not only had to deal with the cleaners, but also had to deal with 10 testers at the same time. The pressure increased exponentially. However, with the blessing of the will to fight and the blessing of Nagato, they were not at a disadvantage for a while, and there was no one-sided situation as imagined. Everyone cooperated well, resisting and attacking at the same time. In a short period of time, they became very anxious. However, this anxiety is only for a short period of time. After all, their numbers are at a disadvantage now, and they may fall into passivity at any time, and may even be injured in the battle. "Wow wow wow! It's so dangerous," Shimekaze shouted while avoiding the scavenger's laser beam and landing on the water. "Are you okay, Shimekaze?" Isuzu had now regained her sight, and she looked at Shimekaze worriedly. "It's okay, but the laser beam just now was too sudden. Fortunately, I didn't rush forward in a hurry, otherwise I would have been seriously injured," Shimekaze said with lingering fear. "Pay attention. Now the clearer's attacks have become very sudden, but the attack intensity has decreased, so you need to improve your reaction and don't be knocked down by those sudden attacks," Nashiro said while shooting. "Yes." Just as a few people were talking, the purifier who was standing on the sea was suddenly stunned for a moment. When he wanted to jump up, he found that it was already too late. Boom boom boom. Continuous torpedoes exploded from the scavenger's feet, causing the shield on her body to dissipate for a moment. "Damn it! When did the submarine actually come over?" In the smoke, the purger's furious voice came out. All her attention was drawn to the people in front of her, and she didn't even notice that there was a submarine behind her that was starting to release torpedoes. Although furious, the liquidators immediately used radar to scan the nearby sea area, but the radar scan was in vain, and no submarine was found at all. This elusive ability made her a little annoyed, but she had to admit that the appearance of the submarine completely disrupted her fighting rhythm. "What a beautiful torpedo," Shimekaze said happily, looking at the embarrassment of the liquidator being injured by the torpedo. Although it was not discovered who actually released the torpedoes, it is obvious that these torpedoes must have been released by the Shichsakura submarine, otherwise her target would not be the clearers. "Opportunity, let's all come together. The cleaner is almost dying." Let's send her off first, and then we can deal with the tester together, Nashiro said. Yes. Although that is said, a skinny camel is bigger than a horse, not to mention that now the cleaner's energy shield has only been destroyed, but it has not yet reached the edge of sinking, so this battle will continue to be stalemate for a while. On the other side, several battleships dealt with several testers one by one. Although it is guaranteed that they have not received much damage so far, under the strong fire suppression, they can only perform a few small attacks while dodging. The bombardment was unable to carry out an effective devastating blow to the tester at all. But everyone knows that the current situation is only temporary, and the real battle will begin soon. Everyone has been waiting now. The real battlefield has been set up, the people who should be detained have been detained, and it is time for the main force to enter the battlefield. Just when the defense line was about to collapse, a large number of carrier-based aircraft suddenly appeared above everyone's heads. The aircraft bombs were dropped like rain and landed on the place where the liquidators and testers were standing. The originally anxious scene miraculously calmed down for 2 or 3 minutes. After this time, bursts of artillery fire suddenly came from behind the crowd. The sound of these shellings echoed throughout the sea area from far to near. It's the main fleet. Lord Nagato, Lord Musashi, the main fleet is here, Daifeng said with some joy. Well, it is indeed Magi. I came at the right time, Musashi nodded, and a smile appeared on his originally serious face. Of course we can't let Nagato-sama and Musashi-sama fight alone. A clear and elegant voice came from the communicator, and then it immediately became serious. Nagato-sama, Musashi-sama, the main fleet has arrived at the predetermined area, please give the order. Nagato nodded, looked at Musashi, and then said. Combined fleet, crush the enemy. As you command. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 939. Amidst the sky-wide gunfire, the Siren fleet in the stronghold waters was almost wiped out, leaving only a few agents and executors to resist the last firepower of the ship girls. But judging from its continuous retreat, it is only a matter of time before it is annihilated. On the other side of the main battlefield, the situation at this time has drastically changed compared to before. When the main fleet did not arrive, the testers relied on the number of aircraft to absolutely suppress Musashi and others. For some time, they even allowed a group of ships to retreat without being able to fight back. But now that the main fleet has arrived and the number of people has doubled, the situation has changed dramatically. With the support of most of the ship girls in the main fleet, and in cooperation with Musashi and others, they formed a line of defense. Under an overwhelming attack, several testers' bodies were quickly wiped out. Immediately afterwards, everyone relied on their superior firepower to carry out individual kills. In a short period of time, they killed 7 or 88 of the testers' bodies. Such a situation could be said to be comprehensive. Suppressed. Tisk, we should retreat, otherwise we will really be doomed if we stay here. The liquidator is now in a very embarrassing condition, with traces of cannonballs all over his body, and even one of his arms has been broken off at some point. Haha, do you think they will let us go? Didn't I tell you before, we have to be wiped out once today, the tester said, and now we can't leave. They had already blocked the stronghold when they came. And do you think they will give us a chance to prepare for teleportation? Well, it's really a headache. The purifier rolled his eyes, then let this end quickly. I'm not a lunatic like the purifier. Haha, she is living a much more relaxed life than you now, the tester said with a smile. Then let's make a final charge, use all the power to burst out, and at least cause some damage to them. That's what I mean. Although I have to die once, my death must be worthwhile. If you want my life, you have to pay a price. The purger laughed crazily, then faced the artillery fire that was constantly fired at her, and rushed forward with all her strength. A strange light continued to emit from her body, and this state aroused the vigilance of Musashi and others. "Everyone, stay away from the Eliminator quickly, she is in very bad condition," Musashi shouted on the public channel. Yes, the people surrounding the clearer's attack quickly retreated, but between this advance and retreat, the clearer was already very close to everyone. "Humph, it's too late. Since you want my life, you must pay the same price and accept the baptism of Roar, you and other ships." As the cleaner said this, he approached the ship girls very quickly, and the light on his body became more and more dazzling. Finally, this light approached the critical point and suddenly began to bloom outward. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded in the sea area of the stronghold. The fire and waves spread out with the aftermath of the explosion, and severely attacked the retreating ship girls. Although he was aware of it and prepared a defensive posture, he still underestimated the power of the Siren Elite self-destruction. The surrounding ship girls were violently impacted by the aftermath of the explosion, flying far in the sky before falling heavily on the sea. Even Nagato and others who were far away from the center of the explosion couldn't help but stop their bodies to resist the aftermath of the explosion. But even so, they were still pushed by the aftermath and moved tens of meters on the sea surface. You must know that they were fighting the testers now, and they were at least several kilometers away from the purgers. "How are you doing?" Nagato quickly shouted through the communicator, but there was no immediate answer from the other party. It wasn't until a while later that Musashi's voice emerged from the communicator. "Fortunately, most of them are in a neutral state. Several approaching destroyers and light cruisers have lost their combat effectiveness, but fortunately no one died." "This is the best." Nagato breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, this operation was carried out independently by Shigesakura behind his commander's back. If this operation caused unexpected casualties, it would be absolutely wrong for me and others to do so, and I would have to answer to my commander. Although injuries in battle are unavoidable, sacrifice is absolutely not allowed in Shinji's dictionary. "Musashi, please arrange things over there a little, our battle is far from over yet," Nagato said. "Understood." Nagato-sama should also pay attention to the tester on your side. If there is a strange light on her body, everyone should quickly give up the attack and retreat immediately. To prevent her from self-destructing like the cleaner, causing a lot of losses. Musashi said. "Understood, I will pay attention," Nagato said firmly. After the two ended the call, Musashi breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at the somewhat disheveled clothes on his body, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. Never had I calculated that the purge would actually self-destruct in the end, and the power of the self-destruction would be so strong. However, several testers' bodies have been destroyed before, but none of them self-destruct. Could it be said that those bodies did not have self-destruct settings, and only the main body would self-destruct? But it was obvious that now was not the time to think about this. Musashi immediately came to his senses and began to arrange the next rescue work in regional communications. And began to gather ships that could still fight, preparing to rush to Nagato. After all, as Nagato said, the battle is not over yet, and it is not the time to clean up the battlefield. We must do a good job in rescue work and rush to the next battlefield in time. Soon, the ship girls who were still able to fight in the sea area began to gather, while the ship girls who were unable to fight began to carry out search and rescue work, and cooperated with Feng Xiang to provide temporary treatment for everyone on the battlefield. After using several emergency repair devices, the still competent ship girl had recovered most of her combat effectiveness, and then, under the leadership of Musashi, rushed towards the direction of the tester. The sky gradually darkened, and this battle had lasted for a day. The huge moon appeared above the sea sky, shining the cold moonlight on the sea through the thick smoke on the sea. This is a very beautiful picture, but under the current situation, it looks a bit bleak. After all, moonlight is always accompanied by silence, but the sea is not silent at all now. The roaring shells were like meteors in the night sky, constantly shooting in the direction of the tester. As other agents and executors in the sea area stronghold were annihilated, the firepower of the attackers became stronger and stronger. And this battle is coming to an end right before our eyes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 940. Since we entered Sea Area 76, we haven't encountered the Siren Fleet. It seems that the battle here is fierce, Washington said on the communication channel while marching. Chongying made a big move this time. I always feel that Chongying's plan is not that shallow. Maybe even our support this time should be included in their plan, North Carolina said as they marched. I also think there is a problem. When I sent a communication to MHI before, her behavior was a bit deliberate, Bunker Hill said calmly. After all, we are the 58th Task Force. Although our forces are currently dispersed, except for the two teams led by New Jersey and Enterprise, our combat power is the strongest in White Eagle, Ticonderoga said with a smile. I'm a little confused by what you said, so you are saying that Zhonying deceived the commander this time? Princeton asked doubtfully. No, they did not lie to the commander. If I guessed correctly, they deliberately acted like that for the commander to find out. Bunker Hill looked at the sea in front of him and said, Amagi and Musashi are what, two shrewd people, wouldn't they know that reporting altered maritime combat reports for several days in a row would arouse the commander's suspicion? So they did it deliberately, and then let the commander find out that they had made a big move, Baltimore asked. It's possible. You know, if they come to discuss countermeasures with us, it is very likely that this matter will be reported to the commander, and the subsequent strategies will definitely not be as sudden as this time. The quickest way to save time is to kill first and then tell later. Prepare a strategy for the sea area stronghold, and then use the commander to instigate us to participate in this operation. I have to say that Shichsakura's strategy is really brilliant, Ticonderoga said with a smile. And the most important thing is that the bulk of the attack this time must be theirs. According to Chongying's current strength, I believe that the stronghold in that sea area has been conquered before we arrived, right? Although there will be some injuries, these injuries are completely within their acceptable range. We will then coordinate with them to launch a comprehensive attack on the North Pacific near the Bering Strait. This is probably what the commander wants to see, so we can only reap some marginal benefits from this operation, which are completely worthless compared to the benefits they reaped from Sakura. If that's the case, then we still have to help them. Washington immediately became unhappy. Have you forgotten that it is the commander's order for us to go to Sea Area 76 to assist them? Bunker Hill said. Hiss, it feels a little leaky. Cleveland took a breath and said. Haha, then why do you think the commander paid so much attention to Tiancheng before? North Carolina laughed. So this time we suffered a dumb loss, Batten asked. It doesn't count. After all, we are going to the sea area in the name of support. Although we will not make a big profit from this battle. But Shichsakura owes a favor. Even if they won't admit it, the fact is that's it. When we need military support in the East Pacific in the future, do you think Shichsakura will come to help? North Carolina said. Everyone who felt a little confused was stunned for a moment, and then they all reacted. Although no favors were owed on the surface, secretly the favors were already owed. In the final analysis, it's just to show off in front of Qin Ji. If it's me this time, then it'll be you next time. The port area has always been the port area for ship girls. Although everyone belongs to the port area, the camps still want their commanders to pay more attention to themselves, but they will never go to the point of confronting each other and will only compete with each other. After figuring all this out, the whole team couldn't help but feel relaxed. Why do I feel that sometimes our White Eagle always suffers a bit when facing other camps? For example, the Chongying and Donghuan camps have counselors like Tiancheng and Zhenhai, and even the iron-blooded ones have castles like Bismarck and Frederick. Extremely deep people, we White Eagle, well, who can be considered a strategic person, Cleveland said. Hey, that's true. Baltimore couldn't help but nodded speechlessly. What can the company say? She has a strong fighting capacity, but it seems a bit difficult for her to do those strategic jobs. Not to mention New Jersey, he has a carefree temperament, and it becomes nerve-wracking when he mentions battle plans and the like. Essex is even less confident and looks for companies every time it encounters a problem. St. Louis does have a lot of ideas, but most of the time they are not serious. After all, it seems that our White Eagle really doesn't have a counselor-type character. The team that was moving forward couldn't help laughing at the same time when they heard such words. Even Bunker Hill, who usually had a cold face, couldn't help but smile a little. North Carolina and others couldn't help but smile. This may be because of cultural differences. Oh, North Carolina, any insights? Ticonderoga asked. You also know that I have stayed in Dong Huang for a long time, and of course I understand some of Dong Huang culture. In the war in Dong Huang, one thing is always important, that is, make decisions before taking action. Therefore, whether it is Dong Huang or Chongqing, under the influence of such culture, characters similar to counselors will naturally appear. It is equivalent to the pre-battle rehearsal we have to do. We must imagine almost all situations during the battle and strive to obtain the maximum gain at the minimum cost. But our situation is completely different. We pay more attention to adapting to circumstances and seizing opportunities on the battlefield. Take the Enterprise as an example. If I use Dong Huang's words to describe her, she is a brave and strategic general. No matter what happens on the battlefield, she can make the most favorable judgment for our side, so this is the secret to her undefeated victory. North Carolina explained with a smile. So I think although there are some differences between the two, the essence is still to win, but the methods are slightly different. And even if we look at the previous history, our strategy against Chongqing has never been at a disadvantage. Indeed, Bunker Hill nodded. Each camp has its own characteristics, the strategy of Chongqing Dong Huang, the iron-blooded city, the unity of the Northern United, the faith of Iris, the glory of Sardinia, and of course our White Eagle moves forward bravely. Are you going to move forward bravely? It is true that our White Eagle is suitable for this. No matter what the enemy's strength is, we must first rush forward and fight, Washington said excitedly. Washington, that's not called marching forward courageously, it's called recklessness. North Carolina couldn't help but raise her forehead. Going forward courageously means not being afraid of difficulties and moving forward courageously. It's not about rushing forward to fight the enemy first. Well, that's what I meant anyway. Haha. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 941. Boom. A loud noise made everyone in White Eagle who was moving forward stunned for a moment, and then stopped sailing. Although it is very close to the Siren stronghold marked by Magi and others, and some outlines can be seen, is the distance of this loud noise a little too far? It seems that something abnormal happened in the sea area of that stronghold. The aviation group and carrier-based aircraft took off. The entire main fleet accelerated and provided support, Bunker Hill said calmly, and then waved his hand. A huge eagle owl appeared above her head and flew out. At the same time, several carrier-based aircraft took off one after another on the armor plate of the ship, closely following the huge eagle owl. Ticonderoga, Princeton, and others who followed the fleet also released their bald eagles at the same time. At the same time, the carrier-based aircraft took off and flew towards the front stronghold at an extremely fast speed. The main fleet adjusted its formation into a complex longitudinal formation almost at the same time, increasing the speed of the fleet to the highest level, and striving to reach the stronghold waters in the shortest time. On the other side, Musashi and others looked at the soaring waves and huge fire, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Like the previous cleaners, the tester also chose to self-destruct. However, because of their previous experience, when the tester chose to expose himself, everyone quickly left the area with the strongest explosion range. Although there is still a lot of damage, it is much less than the damage caused when the scavenger self-destructed before. Just when Musashi and others were sending people to treat injured team members and clear the battlefield, the roar of fighter planes came closer and closer. Everyone immediately raised their heads and saw an eagle owl approaching from a distance, followed by a large number of carriers. Machine. Is this White Eagle's plane? Isuzu, which was originally the main force in air defense, was about to open fire. Seeing such a scene, it couldn't help but be stunned. Well, don't fire, cough, I think they sent carrier-based aircraft to support because of the previous explosion, Magi whispered, perhaps because of the previous explosion, which made her body a little weak. At this time the old problem of coughing came back. It looks like this. It seems that they are very fast. According to my plan, we should meet them again after we clean up the sea area and get rid of this embarrassing situation. It seems that we have to go like this now. See them, Musashi said helplessly. Haha, the marks burned by the flames of war are the medals of bravery. I think that although this look is embarrassing, it can also show the bloody nature of our Chongsakura, Atago said with a smile. Indeed, after all, we, Chongsakura, have accomplished the feat of destroying 2 siren dolls as a single camp. This has never been done before in our Minato area. Even the builders and the like we encountered before were repulsed. It has not achieved elimination, Akage said. She still vaguely remembered that when Shinji went to Chongqing, they were also attacked by the purifiers when they were not members of his fleet. At that time, the strength of the entire camp was only able to resist the purifiers. In the end, they were still attacked by the purifiers. She escaped. Now this should be the result of the high-level siren humanoids in this world so far, right? But looking back now, I still feel a little sad. If I hadn't made a firm decision at that time, how could I have progressed to this point? There is nothing wrong with taking a big gamble when necessary. The more you pay, the more you will gain. They are now unique ships in the world, and they have also accomplished feats that were unimaginable before. These have simply doubled the original bet countless times. Yes, our feat this time will definitely be recorded in the history of our fleet, and it will also open a new page in the history of our port area. The advanced human form of the siren is not invincible. We have the ability to use our strength to protect our future, Musashi smiled. Well, even though I say this, we, Shiji Sakura, still have to express our gratitude to our White Eagle companions for their support. Others have traveled across several sea areas to come, so we cannot neglect them, Nagato said. Nagato-sama, please rest assured, I will step in this time, ahem, I believe that my status is enough to show the importance I attach to my fellow White Eagles, Magi said. But Magi, your body. Nagato frowned. It doesn't matter, this is an old problem. Because I stayed in the port area for a long time and had the Lord's careful care, you thought I had recovered. But it doesn't matter like this, after all, such a small cough it won't affect my combat effectiveness, Magi said. In this case, the reception of White Eagle will be left to you, Magi. We will quickly clean up the sea area, and then everyone will return to Petropavlovsk to discuss the next step in the Pacific strategy, Musashi said. Understood, Lord Musashi. After Magi said that, he took Akage, Kaga, Luen and others to glide in the direction where Bai Ying and others came. Finally, the two camps had their first face-to-face communication outside the stronghold waters after leaving the port area. Seeing the people in White Eagle gradually slowing down, Tiancheng also slowly slowed down and said to everyone on the public communication channel, Chongying Tiancheng, thank you Beiying companions for coming. Looking at the traces of war on the Chongying people in front of them, as well as the smiling faces, combined with the intelligence just detected, Bunker Hill nodded. It seems that your operation this time was successful. After all, we were a step too late. You are not slow at all. Less than a day has passed since the first communication. You have crossed 2 sea areas and arrived here. This has allowed us Chongying to see the speed of support from Beijing. Tiancheng smiled. But it seems that you are a little embarrassed. After planning for so long, is it still so difficult to win a stronghold? Washington said, looking at Magi. Haha. Before Magi could answer, Akage laughed first. There is a saying that goes, plans can't keep up with changes. Originally we wanted to eliminate the testers here, but the purgers also appeared at the same time today. Came here. So we went from planning one enemy to dealing with 2 high-level siren dolls at the same time. Fortunately, we successfully annihilated them in this battle. Annihilate, Bai Ying and the others were stunned, and looked at the somewhat embarrassed Chongying and others in shock. So, you just eliminated the testers and purgers, North Carolina said in shock. Yes, fortunately, we lived up to our mission. Although unexpected things happened, we still persevered, Magi said with a smile. Tisk, you Chong Sakura are indeed hiding very deep. Washington couldn't help but be speechless. Even though she was a fighting madman, she knew that it would not be easy to take down these 2 high-level siren dolls. Haha, this is not the place to talk. We have prepared a reception banquet for White Eagle's companions at Petropavlovsk port. Why not go there together and let's have a good chat about what's next? Plan. Tiancheng smiled. Ken. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 942. Port of Petropavlovsk. At the place where Bai Ying was resting, the main force of Task Force 58 was gathering in a room. Bunker Hill, why did you agree with Tianken's opinion and come here directly instead of going into the stronghold to take a look? The battle this time was so fierce. The purgers and testers both self-destruct in order to protect this place. Maybe there will be some good things inside. Washington asked Bunker Hill in a questioning tone. Bunker Hill glanced at Washington and said in a calm tone, then what? Washington, who was originally imposing, was asked by Bunker Hill and was immediately at a loss for words. Washington, I think Bunker Hill did the right thing. No matter how long our support has gone this time, the final battle of this battle was not fought by us. And didn't you see that? Magi and others have become like that, and they all came out to greet us. Isn't the meaning of it obvious? North Carolina said. That's right. When a camp is in its most embarrassing moment, would you let your comrades who are your old enemies see it? And we didn't help much in the first place, and we had no reason to enter the stronghold to explore, Ticonderoga said. Tisk, just thinking that all the resources there will be taken by Chongying and our trip is in vain, I always feel angry, Washington said. Haha, don't you think about where these things will end up, Baltimore said speechlessly. Of course, Minato. Washington was startled, and then said angrily. Yes, no matter how much material resources or technological resources there are this time, all the resources will be transferred back to the port area in the end. In the end, it will just be Chongying who will give priority to allocation, or get more resources. But there will definitely be no shortage of our White Eagles. So instead of doing those annoying things, it's better to come back here and wait for Shigesakura's triumph. We then send our blessings, which will not only bring the relationship between the two camps closer, but also make them feel guilty for plotting against us. Why not do something like this? Why do we have to be that evil person? North Carolina laughed. You are right, I am the only one who is the evil one. Washington sat aside speechlessly, as if there was no problem. The others smiled silently. They were already familiar with Washington's temperament. The joke ends here. Next is the strategy for the North Pacific. We must gain some benefits from it, otherwise our visit this time will be in vain, Bunker Hill said. Yes, this is what we have to consider now, North Carolina praised. How do you think Chang'e will be distributed? Cleveland asked. With Chang'e's temperament of not wanting to suffer any loss, she will definitely let us play support, right? Washington rolled his eyes and said. Haha, on the contrary, with Chang'e's temperament of not wanting to suffer losses, I will definitely let you be the main force, Ticonderoga said with a smile. I think you also think Chang'e is too bad. Although they are taking advantage of us this time, this is also an opportunity for us to show off in front of the commander. Otherwise, our usual reports will only be about Bai Ying, where the camp was doing something, not what the 58th Task Force headed by Bunker Hill was doing. So I think this time, Chang'e will most likely not compete with us for any credit, because they already have most of the credit, so this time they will be more inclined to give us assistance. After all, our current combat power is complete. Yes, after this battle, how much full combat power can Zhongning have? What they need now is to recuperate and recuperate, which they would have done long ago, otherwise they would not have thought of using us in the first place. Isn't it maximizing the credit for one camp to take over the entire sea area? North Carolina analyzed. I agree with North Carolina, and I also think Chang'e will do this. Unless they are really crazy, they will let us provide them with assistance, Bunker Hill said calmly. It's very possible, Baltimore said. At this time, Benson, who was lying by the window and had been watching, turned his head and said to the people who were talking, Zhongying's main fleet is back. Everyone who was talking stood up at the same time and rushed to the window in an instant, looking towards the port. The flag belonging to Chongsakura and the flag of the port area were fluttering there. Huge warships slowly entered the port on the sea. As they arrived at the port, the huge warships also turned into blue colors. The light disappeared on each of the ship girls. Although every ship girl seemed a little exhausted, the indomitable momentum made every White Eagle ship girl pay attention. It looks like it's tonight. Looking at the setting sun, Bunker Hill turned his head and said. Well, but this battle is actually quite amazing. 2 high-level siren humanoids. This is a victory that has never been achieved in this world, North Carolina said. Leave it to us, White Eagle, we can defeat them, Washington said disdainfully. Now, no matter which camp in our port area, we have certain opportunities, but opportunities like this are rare. We can indeed defeat them, but it is a pity that we cannot meet them, Preston said. Yes, a victory like this requires a certain amount of luck, but we are lucky. I believe luck will definitely favor us, North Carolina smiled. Hee hee. On the other side, Amagi, Musashi and others finally met. Thank you for your hard work, Nagato-sama, Musashi-sama, and Shinano-sama. Thank you for your hard work, Amagi. Musashi smiled. Although there was a hint of fatigue in his smile, it was still so majestic. How are the people in White Eagle doing now? They didn't say much, they didn't lose their temper, and they didn't make any trouble. Since they came back last night, they have been resting in the arranged place. They must be waiting for you to come back, Amagi said. Haha, it seems there are smart people in White Eagle. Musashi smiled. Master Musashi, although White Eagle has always been a representative of force in our port area, it does not mean that their thinking is not sharp, Amagi reminded. I know this, so are you ready for the celebration banquet and reception banquet tonight? Musashi asked. Get ready. I have been preparing since I received your message this morning. I will not disappoint the adults, nor will we disappoint our fellow White Eagles, Tiancheng said with a smile. That's good, let's all go back and take a rest, and attend the banquet together in the evening, Musashi said. Understood, Lord Musashi. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My ship girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 943. The Petropavlovsk port was peaceful and peaceful at night. The ship ladies were dressed in costumes, with smiles on their faces, and they were like butterflies shuttling through the banquet. No one would associate the scene with the celebration banquet, but to be precise, they are the protagonists tonight, warriors sailing on the blue waves. It's been a long wait, my companions at White Eagle. There were a lot of things going on just now. I'm really sorry for the poor reception. As soon as Musashi and several senior officials from Chongqing arrived at the banquet, they went directly to White Eagle's Bunker Hill. People came over. It's okay, we can understand, Bunker Hill said still calmly, as if she would always be like this no matter what happened. That's how Bunker Hill people are. I hope Chongying's companions don't mind, North Carolina said with a smile. Although he often said that he was ordinary, North Carolina's diplomatic ability was still very strong compared to others. Why would you mind? We have lived in the port area for such a long time. We are naturally familiar with Miss Bunker Hill's character, so we won't think anything of it. Magi smiled at the side. She had been following Qin Ge before, so she knew most of the people in the port area relatively well. Magi is right, and I am very grateful to everyone at White Eagle for being able to support us across the sea from such a distance, Musashi said. Haha, it's okay. We are here because of the commander's request. And it seems that the commander is a little too worried. Relying on the power of your Chongqing camp, we can already solve the problem in the sea area, North Carolina smiled. And this time, 2 high-level siren dolls were eliminated at once. If the news is reported back to the port area, the commander will probably be very excited. After all, this is an unprecedented thing in this world. Even other camps will do it for our port area. And look sideways. Actually, these are all unexpected changes. We didn't expect to face 2 high-level siren humanoids directly, because the Kilio Sea area is originally a key sea area. After the siren stronghold was discovered there, we had to do something. Action. But when the operation was underway, it was discovered that there were 2 high-level siren figures there. The arrow was on the string and had to be fired. In order to eliminate the 2 of them, we Chongqing also paid a corresponding price. However, the results are still gratifying. Now that the strongholds in the Kilio Sea area have been eliminated, we can completely connect the Bering Strait and make the North Pacific our rear. Then we can concentrate on starting a new round of attacks towards the center of the Pacific Ocean. Musashi said. And the most important thing is that everyone from White Eagle's trip is not in vain, because we, Chongqing, have experienced this battle. Many ships have basically lost the ability to fight again and need to go through a series of repairs. Fight again. Therefore, we still need your help in the next strategic battle in the Bering Strait, so that we can quickly turn this place into our rear. As expected, everyone in Beijing couldn't help but look at each other. Of course, we won't let White Eagle's companions run away in vain this time. When we searched in that sea area stronghold before, we found some interesting things. I think these things are also very attractive to White Eagle's companions. Musashi said, raising his hand, and a purple light appeared on his hand. Bunker Hill glanced at Musashi, and then held Musashi's hand. The purple light disappeared instantly, and Bunker Hill's eyes couldn't help but widen. It's actually something like this, Bunker Hill exclaimed. What on earth is it? North Carolina and the others wondered. It must be something extraordinary to allow someone as calm as Bunker Hill to show such an expression. Some information on modifying items, Bunker Hill explained. Information on modified items, North Carolina and the others were startled, a little confused. When we were renovating the general atmosphere of our port area, didn't we detect that there were some people in Santiago and war-tired who had the potential to be transformed into maritime legends? But after such a long time, the research on these modified items has been progressing slowly, and the data that Musashi just presented happened to be information about modified items. Bunker Hill explained, then looked at Musashi. If we have this information, I believe we can make corresponding modification items soon, right? Haha, that's pretty much it. Musashi nodded. Perhaps this is our biggest gain from this battle with Chongying. Bunker Hill took a deep look at Musashi and said, our Task Force 58 can help Chongying's companions conduct maritime raids, but these things must be done with the commander's approval. The commander is also quite angry about your private actions this time. And I'm afraid it's not just us. Northern United may also arrive here in recent days. Northern Union, Musashi narrowed his eyes. I think this is a good thing. If the Northern Alliance really comes, it means that the Lord is ready to carry out a comprehensive attack on the North Pacific. Magi said with a smile. Furthermore, I believe that the Lord is not a rigid person. The reason why he is angry is because he is worried that we will do something that will cost too much. But as long as the cost is controlled within the range that he can accept, I think he won't hold on to this matter. In addition, judging from the previous information sent by Minato and the information from other camp companions, the Lord is preparing for a comprehensive strategy in 4 directions, east, west, north, south, and his plan is bigger than any of us. Chongying and Beiying were stunned. This was the first time they heard Magi talking about such a thing. Commander is preparing to carry out a comprehensive attack. Why didn't I notice it at all? North Carolina asked doubtfully. At this moment, Shimekaze ran over quickly. Report to Nagato-sama, Musashi-sama, and Shinano-sama. The commander's urgent telegram. In addition, the commander said that Shirataka's companions should also participate in this urgent telegram communication. Musashi and others looked at each other and immediately did not dare to neglect. They left the banquet venue and rushed towards the station's communications room. When I rushed to the communication room and opened the door, sure enough, an illusory figure was standing there with his back to everyone. Commander. The figure turned around after hearing the sound. Although its appearance was a bit unreal, everyone present could confirm it. Shinji nodded. I'm really sorry to disturb your banquet, but I think I should tell you about this matter in advance so that you can make subsequent arrangements. The arbiters have now returned to the world. According to their behavior, the time for the final battle is not far away. So before that, I need you to conquer the Pacific Ocean in a short period of time and suppress the Siren's activity range in the center of the Pacific Ocean. Yes, Commander. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 944. An hour ago, it was located in the port area of Guam. Although it is almost evening in Petropavlovsk port, it is still afternoon here. Shinji is going about his daily work. Now most of the ship girls in the port area have been dispatched. While the entire port area is much more relaxed, his tasks here have also become heavier. All kinds of information are pouring in from all directions every day. He must synthesize this information at all times and grasp the general direction of the port area. Due to this reason, the number of positions on the secretary ship has been increased to 2 people. The person responsible for real-time communication reports and the person responsible for sorting out files and summarizing information around Shinji. This way Shinji can have a chance to breathe, otherwise these tasks will be too heavy. Commander, this is a message from Beiying. Benjiang placed a document on Shinji's desk. Looking at Shinji, who was still burying his head, he said a little unbearably, Commander, you have been working for several hours. It's time to take a little rest, otherwise you can hold on to such high-intensity work for a month, but what about longer? Shinji raised his head and said, it doesn't matter, this is just writing work, and the female kitchen god has been coming to me more frequently recently. Under such supervision, there will definitely be no physical problems. Benjiang rolled his eyes. Even if you do that, you can't work all the time. You must balance work and rest. Has the commander forgotten this sentence? If you keep working like this, your work efficiency will not be high. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile. I used to say that you were careless, but I feel that Binjiang is also very gentle. Tisk, the key point is that I am your secretary-ship now. If you fall here during my term of office, the people in the port area will probably hate me to death, Binjiang said with a tongue-tied tongue. Hee hee. While the two were chatting and joking, a knock came from the door. Binjiang immediately entered the state, then turned around and opened the door. Qin Ji also looked towards the door, but the figure he saw surprised him a little. Helena. This Helena is naturally not the Helena of White Eagle, but the Helena of Ember. Although a group of ships are now scattered in all directions, conducting raids in the sea area, Ember's belongings have not moved at all. First, because each of them is relatively powerful, doing these things feels a bit like overkill, and the most important thing is to ensure the safety of the port area. After all, they are here, so all the ship girls can safely carry out the work outside. Strategy for the sea area. However, a few days ago, Helena told Qin Ji that she was going to pick up the new Ember ship, and there was no news after that. And today I came unexpectedly, but I didn't bring anyone else with me, so I must have something to say. Sure enough, Helena came to Qin Ji and said to Qin Ji, "Commander, there is news that I think it is necessary to tell you now." "What news?" Qin Ji asked confused. "Also, didn't you say you were going to pick up other Ember ship girls?" "That's true. I did receive 2 Ember ship girls this time. They are now in the Ember building in the port area. However, I did not bring them here because I had more important information to report," Helena said. "What's wrong?" Qin Ji asked. "Just when I picked them up, I felt a familiar wave. When I went to investigate, I found that the Arbiter had come to this world." Helena looked at Qin Ji and said. Qin Ji immediately stood up. "Has the Arbitrator come? Who is coming? How many are there? Where are they? What kind of actions are they taking?" Helena smiled and said, "Commander, don't be impatient. The arbiters who came this time are still old acquaintances, Empress, Strincus, Templarus and Hermit. And their landing point is in the central area of the Pacific Ocean, so it is certain that there is a very large Siren fortress in the central area of the Pacific Ocean, and the host of this world is there. As for their actions, it is not clear yet, because they lost their breath after falling there. It was because of this that I delayed my return for a few days." Qin Ji narrowed his eyes. "Then it's possible that this time it will be the same as last time, but last time it was both the Pacific and the Atlantic. Now all 4 of us are in the Pacific, so the focus of the strategy this time must be on us. But this is also a good thing. A local battle is better than a full-scale battle. What is your opinion on this incident?" Just like the commander said, although they are not taking action now, it does not mean that they will not take action in the future. Otherwise, the 4 of them would not have come to this world together and landed in the Pacific Ocean. So this time their strategy and mission, it's probably us, and we have to be prepared to deal with them before they act," Helena said. "Are you prepared to deal with it? If this is the case, then other camps cannot be involved. After all, their strength is like an egg against a stone to the Arbiter," Qin Ji said. "So the commander decided to let us solve it?" Helena asked. Qin Ji smiled bitterly. "I'd like to think so, but I'm afraid they won't do it. But now is not the time to talk about this. Time is very urgent now, and we have to speed up. Helena, next I need you to mobilize 8 Embers to go to various camps located in the East, West, North, and South Pacific. We must control most of the sea areas in the shortest possible time and squeeze the Siren's activity range behind the center of the Pacific. First our front fight will help." "That's fine. When will we set off?" Helena asked. "Immediately. I will immediately arrange for people from other camps in the port area to provide support in all directions, and will also issue emergency communications to them to let them understand the seriousness of the matter, Qin Ji said. No problem, I'll go down and make arrangements right away, Helena answered very simply, and immediately turned around and left the office. Qin Ji looked at her leaving figure and looked sideways at Binjiang. My wife is in the communication room now, right? Yes, Commander. Well, let's go to the communications room next. I need to contact each camp urgently to let them know about this matter as soon as possible and prepare a comprehensive strategy for the 4C areas of East, West, South and North, Qin Ji said. Yes. The office is not far from the communication room. Due to the fighting, the communication room is now located in the office area. The two left the office, walked a short distance, and arrived at the communications room. All the Gon girls in charge of the communication room are here, including of course the other secretary Gon Azuma. Commander? Why are you here? Azuma was surprised by Qin Ji's arrival. There is an emergency communication, please help me quickly connect to other camps, Chongying sighed first, Qin Ji said. Yes. Following the ship girl's response, Chongying was quickly connected. Commander, the other side is Shimekaze.